Good afternoon. This is Victor Jones with another video. This time we're going to discuss a topic of what I call urgency and importance. People will get a client on the phone and they'll spend some time doing some discovery, qualifying them, finding out they have a checking account, finding out if they have a valid driver's license or whatever. And when an agent comes to me and says that they had a good phone conversation, they quoted out some policies to the client, but they didn't pull the trigger. My first question to them, and it almost annoys them after a while, that I always ask, why was it urgent? Why was it important to them? What made them decide to look for life insurance today? If they can't answer that question, then I immediately go, well, then nothing else matters. If it's a purely financial decision, then it simply goes, well, the policy is $60. Do I have $60? Do I want to spend $60? Can I afford to put it in my budget? It's just an emotionless decision where you're not getting to the heart of the reason. There's nothing cool or sexy about buying a life insurance policy. It's not the new iPhone or the new Galaxy S, whatever. And nobody gets excited to go stand in line on Black Friday to get a life insurance policy. So there's something emotional that clicked in that person's brain today that made them decide to get online and submit an inquiry to look into purchasing life insurance. So I've got to figure that out. So I'll sometimes just ask them while I'm killing time, or so to speak. I'll say, while I'm pulling up your information, let me ask you a quick question. What made you decide to look into some life insurance today? Maybe it's because someone lost a loved one, or they just recently got a medical diagnosis, something along those lines. Something may have been a wake-up call to say, I'm not a spring chicken anymore and I need to get this taken care of. It could have been a baby. It could have been anything, but let's say it's a baby. Well, if they're at work right now and they've got a picture of their little 7-week-old child, all of a sudden now I'm getting that person, man or woman, whatever, to take a look over there at that picture on their desk. And now this policy that we're going to spend the next few minutes discussing is connected to that picture, to that memory, to that heartstring, and therefore it becomes less of a cold conversation and more of a friend-to-friend, heartfelt conversation. I can relate. If you're a parent, so I can relate. I've got 2 young ones. If it's someone just lost a loved one, say, I can relate. I hear that all the time. Or a friend of mine's father just passed away. I was at their funeral last week, and it was nice that they had gotten everything taken care of with the life insurance. Or bring out a horror story. Some people do that, and I have too. Just say, listen, I'm glad you're getting this taken care of. I can't tell you how many dozens, if not hundreds of clients over the years I've spoken to that have suffered a severe financial hardship simply because a loved one or relative did not get this taken care of and left them holding the bill for all their funeral expenses and some outstanding debts and things of that nature. So I commend you for doing that. If you'll focus on that for a few minutes of the conversation, it gives you something to go back to later on in the conversation when they're hemming and hawing over the premium, or saying, I really want to, I want to think about it, get back to you, all of those types of things. Now you've got something to build. So while you're thinking about it, what's going to happen if you were to get in a car accident this afternoon, or you have a heart attack, or a more plausible scenario, what's going to happen if you just all of a sudden have a little bit of elevated blood pressure this afternoon, and because you waited 2 weeks, now your premium's going to be double or triple because you're going to be an impaired risk client. It's not so much whether or not you're going to die today, it's whether or not you're going to still be healthy when you finally decide to get your act together, so to speak, and get your life insurance in order for you and your family. So those are the things that I try to lean towards, and if you figured out urgency and importance sometime early on in the conversation, your likelihood of closing your phone calls, or if you're the type of person still doing the old school in-home appointments, your closing ratio will be a whole lot higher because you tied it emotionally to something versus it just being a pure financial decision. So anyway, hope that helps, and get out there and go sell something.